Okay. So, what is the difference between Unix and Linux? What do you know about these two words? Are two are same, or what do you think?
Both are different, same flavor, but the kernel level is different, I think, sir. The shell level is different.
Yeah. Um, Unix is a parent and Linux is a child, as per my interpretation. So, Unix currently available with Solaris, HP, IBM. Okay, so Solaris, Sun Solaris, and IBM gives you AIX, HP gives you HPUX. So these are the Unix operating systems. So these are proprietary operating systems, and they are all childs of Bell Labs created operating system, that is Multics. So 1960s, they have a big research, 60s to 70s, and they have lot of new evolutions, changes happen in the IT and in the programming languages. As you know, C is a language which is widely used across all the developments. And that time, IBM is having only mainframes, huge systems. So alternative system they need to find and they need to use in the telecom domain, AT&T Bell Lab. So they started working on these alternatives. In that, they have created multiple uh, shells. So the first shell in the Unix operating system, that is Bourne shell, Bourne, Bourne shell. From that, there are another set of sequence of child shells are created, but the most widely used one are the Unix operating system always uses the KSH, and all Linux operating systems, Linux flavors. Linux again, it's an open source and proprietary is also there. As you know, Red Hat is a proprietary operating system, and open source OpenBSD is another standard separately used Debian related Linux kernel. So Linus Torvalds started working on his final project and created the Linux. So Linux is from Europe, but after that it is expanded open source. Because of that, anybody can contribute, and it is became a standard for a multi-user environment. Unix is developed for multi-user, multics. From there you got this Unix. From Unix we got the open source, not to belongs to any company. That is the Linux kernel. And Linux kernel again, multiple organizations are maintaining. So GNU related GNU utilities, GNU related binaries are developed separately. MIT is a open source standard first initiated. So from then we have open source modules keep on adding to the kernel. So OpenBSD, GNU, MIT, these are all different organizations which are going to have a sequence of commands added to the Linux. Okay.
Sir,
Um, Yeah, so with respect to shell and bash, we'll see some basic understanding why these two are different and what are their inside. So let us see that and then understand what are the variables, paths where we are going to use the shell, in which location you have to look for. Then the basic commands which are going to be included into your shell scripts and the Linux. So the shell variables, how we can define what are the variables, how to retrieve the data, and when you are going to assign the value, it is different. When you are retrieving the data, it is different. And there are some special characters in Unix and Linux. Everything is a file. The concept of operating system, everything is a file. If it is a process, it is a file. If it is a network, it is a file. If it is a device, it is a file. If it is a disk, hard disk, it is a file. So everything stored into a file. Okay, so that is a base concept of Unix and Linux. Understand that base, and then when you are working with the shells, any shell you take, KSH and Bash, both the shells are having one common thing, that is, whenever you write a script, the variables are going to store the values as strings or literals, you are going to say literals. Okay, as per the expressions, the data will be treated as numeric or float or different data types. So in shell interpretation, everything is a string. Remember that point. Okay, so if you want to convert that string into a value, then you need to use separate expression oriented expressions or double brackets which are required when you are going to use the script. Okay, so what is interpretation? Why we are going to have for the shell? So when you are going to work with the programming structures, we have two options. One is compilation, another one is interpretation. Compilation languages, as you see, C language, C++, Java, all these are going to have two different phases. The first phase is compilation. The second phase is the without having any syntax or semantic errors, that will become a executable ready to use intermediate format. So that will be interpreted by machine will convert into machine language, then we are going to get the required desired output. Okay, so that is running a program. So two phases will be there when you are working with the programming compile programming languages. In case of interpretation languages like Bash, ASH, Perl, Python, these are all interpreted languages. So interpreter language, it is going to check the syntactical semantical errors and it will stop there itself. And whenever it is no errors, no syntax errors, it will completely executing. You don't need to wait for another phase. Okay, so that is a fastness which you are going to have with the shells. This is what the requirement in the multi-user environments. Whenever you want to start a service, whenever you want to start a server, we are going to use a shell script instead of using any programming language. Okay, so whenever you are going to do ready to use ready to run things are required, that's why shell script is a interpreter language required. Okay, so at the end we will see how the structure of the shell. Okay, and then we'll try to execute small example program so that you can understand, and some platform information, Linux environment or Unix environment, how do you get that? Okay, so let's begin. What is Bash? Bash, born again a shell, it's a full form, but it is derived from Bourne shell. Okay, so Bourne shell, the first shell which is developed in 1968. Okay, so in 1980s, 89s, this Bash is open sourced in the Linux. So when Linux told defined Linux kernel, and that time this Bash is inherited and developed separately, and it is the one of the module included in the Linux. Okay, so whenever you see Linux, proprietary Linux is Red Hat Linux. So it's a child related flavors are CentOS and Fedora, right? So these Red Hat related Red Hat Linux also included or inherited in Oracle Linux as well. Oracle having its own Linux, but it is partnered with the Red Hat. So these three flavors, you can get the same kind of commands, same sequence, same installation process as well. So Red Hat flavors always uses RPMs for installation process. Yum is another alternative way of package installations. So whenever you are going to have package installers, it is also having the libraries and binaries. Okay, together we are going to have libraries and binaries. So Brian Fox developed, programmed Bash shell in C program, C language. So every language again built with another machine understandable languages. So Bash functions, Bash commands all developed in C program, compatible. Okay. The first version is released in 1989, and afterwards it is keep on growing. Right now it is 4 point some X version going on. Okay, so Bash latest version you can see in your shell and your latest operating system as well. So as we are dealing with the different Unix flavors, um, Ubuntu always having the default shell as a bourne shell, and its users, whenever you are going to create, Bash is a default shell. Okay, the login shell. So the version is always keep on updating with the latest modules, with the latest features of the shell. So if you want to get the latest, you can get it from the open source because it is openly available, and you can check that version by using the echo $bash underscore version. Okay, so you are in which shell, you can just check with the echo $shell, that will gives you the shell, and you can see how many shells are available in the current operating system. You can just see cat/etc/shell. So that gives you all the shells available in your operating system. Okay, KSH. This is developed by Von David G. Kahn, AT&T Lab in 80s. So this guy developed, and the concept, the first shell, corn shell, is developed by him, and it is keep on growing. And the standard K shell, which is open sourced by MIT license, KSH 88. So this is the most strongest shell, and it is fastest shell. If you compare with the Bash and KSH, why KSH is in the proprietary means KSH is fastest executable shell compared with the Bash. Okay, so this is also developed in C language. It is mostly used the machine level coding inside. That's why it is much more faster compared with the Bash. KSH, another version is publicly available, that is KSH 93. This is the latest version of the KSH shell. After that, there is no more KSH, no more expansions, new versions are not developed. KSH is having child shells, PDKSH and MKSH. This is developed for the Windows operating system. The features which are openly shared, that is open KSH. These shells, whenever you are going to work, you must aware of the directory structure and how the directories are accessible. So that's why I'm just giving a glance over a directory tree. Okay, so there are two different paths whenever you are dealing with. So whenever you are working with cd command, pwd, changing into multiple directories, you must aware of these two things. One is absolute directory path, Another one is relative path. Okay, so when you are dealing with a relative path, it is from your current directory location. From your current location, then where is the path which you want to desire to go. So if you see in the tree structure directory, the parent is A, under that B and C are child directories, and B is also having a child, that is a D directory. Okay, so if you want to create this directory structure, you can use mkdir and give the complete absolute path. Okay, so that will create the directory structure. So let's check on the putty terminal on my system. Let me go to the putty terminal. Where is, okay, this is my virtual box, Vagrant virtual box, which I have using for this session separately.
Okay.
It's not connecting. Okay, Vaishali, we have Vagrant box open. Check Vagrant. Vagrant is running. Hello, hello,
Just
Bashir.
disconnecting my Marine sir. Reconnect it.
Yeah,
Okay, sir. Okay.
okay. I am having Vagrant. Vagrant. All right. So in this one, I am having this co dollar shell will tell that whenever I logged in, I'm into which shell. Okay, and you can also see etc shell. What are the shells available in this user? So
Okay.
one shell, dash, bash, r bash, and other. So we understand two things, these two shells, Bourne shell and bash shell. All right. So
Okay.
these two will work on, and you can check on any operating system. This is the same way, same method. It's just shells will gives you the login shells available. Okay, let me clear the screen and then yeah. So here one more version thing. How we are going to check bash underscore version. This is the latest version of the bash 4.3.48 that is available in this operating system. Okay, so some of the interesting commands with related to the operating system, uname will be gives you are in Unix or Linux. So if you are in Solaris, then you are going to get Sun OS. If you are in AIX, you will be getting its uh, name, what they have given for that. HPUX, you are going to get. Okay, so that gives some idea you are working on what. So sometimes the commands which you are working, the options may change. Same script you want to execute that is in shared drive across multiple platforms. that is accessible in Linux, that is accessible in Solaris. In that case, you need to check that uname, right? So that gives the idea of you're working on which platform, what is the version. Uh, this kind of information you can check. So name, host name, you can get with the uname -n. And there are some of the environment variables which you can see by typing env, right? So all these variables are built-in shell variables. What you are seeing here, all these variables automatically accessible when your system is loaded. Okay, in this one, importantly, you can see shell. Just now we have seen shell, and we are connected to your terminal using some IP address that we can get it here. And the terminal is going to work with the device file. I told you everything is a file in Unix and Linux. So this screen, what you are seeing, that is coming from Dev2018. There may be n number of just terminals, and the first terminal which we are connected, that is zero, the index value zero, that file is there. The same way, user information is also a variable. It also supports multiple colors when you're working on this. So whenever you're going to say ls-l, some of the file names showing different colors. Okay, so sometimes you don't want to see the color also, then you need to mention that color off. You can also see some of the aliases, right? So these aliases will tell you what are the colored schemas which are available. So whenever I type ls, it is automatically color auto on. So yeah, so some of the important points which we can take away from this environment variables are the path. You can see the path variable. So this path is going to have all binaries, the bin directories. Okay, so the bin directories gives you the access to the utility commands, which will be executed through shell, that will be accepted by the shell. Right now I am in the bash shell that will take the command and executed by the kernel and returns back to the shell. Shell will return back to the TTY. Okay, so that is how the process is going to work. So let me just go to this learning directory. I am going to make directory mkdir. Here I want to make directories A, B, C, but it is saying I cannot create. Then if I'm going to use -p, it is accepted, right? So A directory is automatically created. If you want to see the directory of A, you just type A and you can see the content of A that is having B. Okay, B content you can see it is having C. Okay, then C content is nothing, there is nothing, zero total. Okay, so this way we can see the directory content, and what I'm seeing here is a relative path, that is the path from the current directory. Okay, so if I'm going to give the directory path, this C directory I want to see, then A/B, it is also gives the same. Okay, if I'm going to do relative path and absolute path, this is the difference. Okay, this is what you are seeing, A/B/C is a relative path. Slash home vagrant, everything what you are going to start from the root directory, that is called absolute path. Okay, if I'm going to create a file from the current existing path, Right now I am in the learning directory, but I'm going to create a file in a C directory. Okay, so my text.txt. So I'm created this. If I just try to see that content, I am able to see the file which I just now created, empty file. So how did I create it? I use the absolute path. So absolute path means that is starting from the root directory. Is the most important thing. Okay. So you can also use this path, that is relative. Okay. Search. I'm going to use the relative path and I'm creating relative. Okay. Then again, I'm checking the directory. I have two files created, my text and relative text file. Okay. So this gives you some idea about how to use the relative path, how to use the absolute path. You can navigate easily A/B/C. I am in the C directory. All right. So the same directory, you can get it by environment variable. Sometimes you want to get the directory in your script, in your shell script. You want to get the present working directory and you want to execute the script. Okay. That is also important for you. And when you are dealing with this directory structure, this dash will takes you to the previously navigated directory. So previously I am into learnings directory. So dash takes me to the previous directory. And if I'm going to use the tilde symbol, it will take me to the home directory. The home directory is home/vagrant. Okay. So hope you understood what is the meaning of tilde, what is the meaning of dash. Okay. So currently I'm in home directory. Previously where I am into the learnings directory. If I'm going to do the dash, again I'm going to navigate to the learnings. All right. So this is
Okay.
about path variables, right? So most directory structures are very, very important in our mount path. Okay. So as I mentioned, everything is a file in Unix and Linux. /dev is used for all device drivers programs available. Devices like floppy, hard disk, whatever device you are connecting, USB, mouse, all these are comes under your devices. So relevant directory drivers will be available in dev/dev. Sometimes we are going to use /dev/null. That indicates nothing, no device. Something which you are executing a command that you don't want to see the output. You just want that should be executed. It should not get onto the terminal because everything is a file. The output is also a file. So when it is going to the file, tty file, stty, that file you can redirect. You can send it to null. You can send to null means that null file is available in /dev/null. Okay. The next important directory is bin. There are many types of bin directories, and some of them relate to the super user, some of them are related to the regular users. Okay. So user bin, USR bin. Bin is commonly used across all users. It may be super user, it may be system user, it may be the root user, administrator user. Okay. And sometimes you install some softwares that requires libraries updated. So as you know, web server Apache, when you are going to work on Apache server, Apache, if you are running, installing in root user, then lib folder will be updated. USR lib you can update or lib you can update. Okay. So that depends on which level of libraries are required, where you want to keep them, that paths you can mention there. Var is commonly widely used for um, configuring and log files. So if you are going to configure a web server, that configuration files, it's a http.conf file, we can keep in the var path. If you are going to work with the log files, syslogs or Apache logs, error logs, that logs also you can navigate to the var/logs. Okay. Then etc is the most common directory structure which is used in Unix and as well as Linux. So in Unix and Linux, this etc folder is used only for configuration files. That means it is going to have the name and values. If you take one small example in the etc password file. So the password file will have all the user information. Uh, what is the name of the user? What is a bash? What is a shell associated with him? And what are the groups associated with him? That information is available in the etc password file. Similarly, host file, you can see what is the IP address, what is the name of that DNS. Okay, so IP related to that particular configuration. Lot of files will be there in the con etc. System related information as well. Suppose you are logging with Oracle user, or if you are going with the logging with the WL admin, each user is going to have different memory settings, kernel settings you want to provide. You can provide that using the limits conf file. Okay, so these files are available in etc. Then local bin. This is a common thing when you work with the Docker, Kubernetes. These things are going to work with the USR local bin. So they contains not part of the regular distribution binaries. Means whatever the operating system you are getting, like Ubuntu, if you are using, that Ubuntu is having some executable commands, ls, cd, pwd. All these commands are available in bins. But if you are going to work with Docker, if you are working with Compose, Docker Compose, or you want to work with the Kubernetes commands, kubectl, etc., etc., those binaries will be placed in the USR local bin. Okay, so the software binaries which are not part of your regular distribution, they can be added by requesting to your admin. You are the admin for your system, that's why you can add it anytime. Okay, so you just download it from the open source sites or GitHub, and that command executable binaries you can place copy to your USR local bin. The next widely used directory, that is /opt. It is going to have the commercial softwares. For example, Oracle database you want to install, you can target to this directory. Or you want to install WebLogic, you can go and install in OPT. Okay, so any software you want to install, that you can use. And one mount point or directory structure that will be used across Unix, across Linux, and it is not going to have any permission issues, that is temp. So temp will be managed by temp fs, temp file system, and it is going to be refreshed whenever you restart your system. The temp directory content always clears out. So don't write any files, shell scripts in the temp, because whenever the system rebooted, it will go off. It will not be there. So what is the use of temp? Whenever you want to share something with another user in the same operating system, go for the temp, right? The next one is sbin. Sbin is administrator bin, and it will be used by who are having the sudo access. Some of the users will be given sudo access to uh, temporarily work as a root or administrator. For them, this has been commands. Okay, so this has been means it is a standard safe bin. So these commands will be like if config. You want to check the network interface cards. That information will be available with the sbin command. Okay, sbin have some commands that will be accessible for the users who are sudo, who are in the list of sudoers. Okay, common devices which are available in the slash dev, that is TTY, the terminal which you are going to see in the screen, and then dev DSP, that is sound system. If you are going to have play AU files in that one, and FD01, this one old systems allowing, but nobody using floppy drives now. HDA1 is going to be there. That is IDE drivers. This is also going the older fashion. Nowadays, SDA such devices. Okay, so basic commands which you are going to see deal with creating the scripts. When you are working with the scripts, you don't know what is options are available for that particular command. In that case, we have these two commands are very useful. Man and info. Man will be having pages of information. Info is a shortcut to understand what are the options, what is the meaning of option. Man will also have the example of that particular command, how to use it. Okay, the man page will be also there in the website. So if it is developed by MIT, if it is under GNU, you will be getting the man page under that particular organization website. Okay, which command is used for uh, you are using which directory contained this command. Okay, for example, you are going to use pwd. It is from which binary directory, bin directory. That we can get it by just saying which. And who will be giving how many users are connected to your current operating system. And changing from one mode to another mode for a file, you can change mode. If you are owner, then you can do that. And super user can use chown. That means root user can change ownership of, for example, Pawan to Bashir. Pawan user having a file that owns, then that can be changed to Bashir. The ownership you can change. Switching shell, change shell. So CHSH, the shell should be existing. Right now, if you see, I'm having only two shells, Bourne shell and bash shell. If you are going for KSH, it is not there. You cannot switch, right? So the shell should be existing, then only you can switch, you can change. And most commonly widely used uh, backup of your systems with the date formats, date and command formats you can see. Okay, so let's quickly go to the command quickly. Yeah, yeah. Date gives this date. Okay, so whenever you want give some format and you want to display it, what we can do, date plus d, just give one d. Oh, I have to use percentage. Then I got 20 days day, right? So if I don't know what is all our options, then I can go for mandate. Okay, so there are different options which we can see here, and the options meanings also given in the man page. Okay, so some of the examples also available, and some of you can see here, right? So the date will be converted from the seconds, one raw integer value will be converted. And there are different time zones also. You can switch from one time zone to another time zone and understand what is the current time there. Suppose you are in IST and you want to know about the UK time, or you want to know the America's Los Angeles time, right? So that information you just use this variable and get it. Okay, let me just try this America date. Okay, so what I got here, it is still Wednesday, December 19th, and it is 6 o'clock there in Los Angeles. Again, there you can also do manipulations plus minus to the days. Uh, like after 5 days, what is the date? After 100 days, what is the date? What is the day? All those you can do with the date. We'll try to work out with the different examples. And yeah, just now we have in man page. We'll see info. The difference you can see. It is giving much more short. If you see man page, it is having examples, but here you don't have the complete details. You have only option, that meaning what is of this, why this command is. And one more is also there, help. Oh, help sometimes works. So some of the commands will give works. I help no options. Mm, Yeah, so that gives syntax. Not every command will be work for help, but man is a default one, and info will be easy for all Linux systems. So in Unix and Linux, if you want to use help, then man page is the best. Choice. All right. So these shell variables are strings, as I mentioned. So you can have n number of variables, and how we are going to use the variables, where you can see the variable values. So I'll just give some small example here. X is equal to 100. I can just see what is the X value here, and I just go to a shell bash. Um, Whenever I entered, I'm into another shell now. Okay, if I'm going to say echo $X, I'm not getting that. Why? Because I'm into another shell. So how can I check I'm into another shell? How many shells are running? You can just say ps-l, that will give how many shells are running. Okay, so you can come out from the shell and see. So how do I come out? Control D or exit. Okay, so I came out from the internal shell, bash shell, child shell. Now if I try echo $X, I'm getting the 100 again back. Okay, so variable values reside within the shell scope. If shell creates another child shell, that will disappear, that will not be accessible. Okay, so if I want to access across the shells, the variable value, let me take y is equal to Bashir. Okay, so if I'm going to say echo $y, I'm getting the Bashir value. Okay, the same thing if I'm saying this y is equal to Bashir export. Okay, I'm able to get the same thing. But if I'm going to say bash, I created a shell, subshell. Okay, I can confirm I'm having a two shell now. And if I try to print echo $y, I'm getting the Bashir value, Bashir Y value in the another shell also, child shell also. So export will work across all the shells. How many child shells also created from one shell to another shell, you want to give the variable value, then use the export. Is this clear?
Yes, sir.
X and Y. If you are exporting, what happens? If you don't export, what happens? Okay, so Y is exported and X is not exported. If I'm saying X, nothing coming. But when I come out from this one, I'm able to see the X value, right? So when you enter into the another shell also, you will get the value when you are going to have the export. So sub shell, you understood. Export, how it is working, you understood. Okay, right? So special characters, these are the special characters. Sometimes you are going to use a slash to indicate some of the symbols which are used for some processing. Okay, whenever you want to print dollar, then you need to escape that character, and you are using double quotes for all strings. You can mention, you don't need to mention, but if you have multiple words, then go for the quotations. So double quotes and single quotes, two options are there to define the character set. Okay, so I'll just make you understand this, why we are going to have this. Okay, echo. I'm just saying dollar $y, then I'm getting the Bashir value. So if I'm going to take Z, Z is equal to Pavan Devara. Okay, so I am able to get this Z, two words. Whenever I have two words, I need to go with the double quotes, and I have another choice, single quotes. Okay, so let me go with S is equal to single quotes. Okay, so this is also gives the same kind of output, single quotes or double quotes. If I am not giving this, let's say I'm getting the error. If I'm not giving single quote or double quote, I need to store two words, then I'm getting the trouble of storing the second. So what is A now? Nothing. It is the command itself isn't executed. Okay. And one more important point I just want to mention here. The variables when you are dealing with. Let me take M is equal to 200. I'm getting the error. Command not found for 200. Don't give space after equal to. Okay. If I'm going to give space equal to 200, then N is not a command. Okay, so after equal to, if you are going to give without space, it is going to take the variable. So whenever you are dealing with a shell, very important is equal to symbol. When you are going to assign the value, no spaces before and after equal to. Okay, this is the most important thing. And whenever you are dealing with variables, sometimes in some of the scripts you are going to see dollar flower brackets. Why we have to use? You know, any understanding, Bashir, on that one?
No, dollar and flowers. I didn't understand previous days.
Okay, so suppose milli, you are going to say the time in milliseconds. Okay, so this time in milliseconds, I can just simply say M and double quotes. I can use like this. I can get the 200 there. Okay.
Okay.
So if I'm going to use double quotes here, also I'm getting output. Okay. So sometimes you want to print the statement with MS. What happened? The 200 is not coming.
Correct.
M is a variable, but I want to mention 200 milliseconds ms, but it is not understanding my intention. To make that understand what we are going to do, flower brackets. Then it separates the string from the variable. M is a variable, ms is a string. Now I am getting the desired output.
Yes.
Okay, so this way variable retrieving in a string is possible. This is clear, right? Why we are going to use the flower brackets in the
Flower
shells.
bracket and dollar. Yeah. Now I
Right,
can understand, sir.
right, right. Okay. So you have any questions such kind of
Small doubt,
nearby?
sir.
Yeah.
Regarding what is this subshell, sir? Subshell.
Shell will create another shell, right? Just now, how can I
That
tell?
part I small
You
doubts.
didn't understand. Okay. So what happened whenever right now I'm in a shell, right? Whenever I'm
Okay.
saying here bash shell,
Best shell.
but whenever I logged into Vagrant user, I'm in a shell,
Hmm.
bash shell.
Okay.
Whenever I'm saying here bash, I'm into another bash shell, that is child bash shell. If
Hmm.
I'm going to say here in the shell, okay, I'll go to the another shell, sh.
Okay.
I switch from parent
Best to
bash,
shell.
bash to another bash. Then
SH.
from the bash, I am switched to sh.
Okay.
Okay. So if I'm going to say ps-l, it will
We
show
have
how
three
many
shells.
shells? Three
Three
shells.
shells.
First parent, from there child, from there another.
Another child.
So you
Okay.
can see uh, parent ID
Hmm.
here. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the parent and
So
it's
another shell. Okay.
so the link is you can see child shell, the PID and parent PID.
If we kill the parent ID, then child ID will be killed, sir.
We'll see. You want to see kill. You want to kill this one.
Parent ID. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, we'll try this one.
Okay, sir.
Oh, I mean shell. Okay, I'll kill this one. It is killed.
Okay.
Okay. Now, oh, shell is killed. The terminal is closed.
Okay.
The
Hmm.
complete shell
Maybe
parent
it
child
came out.
system is gone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It came
Yeah,
out. I
yeah. So I need to relog in. Oh, where is that? Just a moment. I am connecting again. A nice question. Sometimes it happens in the
Hmm.
projects. Only it is killing, then we'll be having the trouble. Obviously. Okay, so whenever I logged in, I checked the process having only one shell, right? So if
Yes.
I'm doing bash, if I'm doing sh, if I'm doing bash, and again sh, so multiple shells are created. Child, parent, child, parents. The subshells are created, keep on creating. Every time when you type the sh, you are changing from your current shell to the child shell. Okay, so
Okay.
we have a command here, Control D to switch back to the parent. I'm just doing Control D. Okay, so right now it is automatically closes or kills the child shell. If I'm doing ps-l, you see the difference. Last two shells are killed automatically. Whenever I'm doing control D or exit command will do the same. It will come out from the shell, child subshell. Subshell అర్థమవుతుంది కదా?
అవును సార్.
ఇంకేమైనా క్వశ్చన్ ఉందా? ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్?
లేదు సార్, క్లియర్ సార్.
Yeah. So right now another shell is there. I'm just exiting, going back to the parent level. Okay, that's confirmed. Okay. One more shell related command is sh. You're changing to, what is that shell? One shell. User sh does not exist. Okay. Change shell try yes sh. Okay, now sh does not. Okay. Hey, how it is going to work? Sh yes change login shell. Oh, login shell is a parent shell that bash is going to change. So only one thing you are going to. Okay. Already we are in the bash and we are trying to change bash. That's why it is not changing. Okay. But if I want to change, what is the command I have to use? It is not exist at all. In the background user, I can just take the shell login shell using etc password vagrant. Oh, this is going to have the bash. Okay, so CHSH is not really useful much. You can just switch to subshell. That will be much more easy. Maybe it may be useful when you are working with the root or administrator scripts. That time you may change from this infas. These are also shells, login shell, from one shell to another shell. If you want to switch from the script, then that will be useful. Change shell. All right. So what else we have? Double quotes, single quotes. We understood. Okay, you want to see this the slash. Okay. So per one dollar, I'm getting the dollar symbol as it is required symbol. Sometimes don't print it. In that case, and to use the slash. If I'm going to use this, yeah. So if I'm going to give something, it is trying to make that executable. Still, the execute symbol apostrophe. And then next, it is going to wait for command. Next command. It is not closing, right? So if you see the difference between the last command and the previous command, this command is just printing the symbol string. It is not interpreting. Okay, when you are giving backward slash, it is not interpreting. If you are giving without backward slash, it is directly execute. That's another important point. And did you notice difference between the single quote and double quotes?
Double
Did you
quotes is
understand?
just printing the string, I think so.
Okay. Okay, I'll show
Single
you
quote.
the example here. Let me give the example here. Let me give A is equal to my string, and what I want to give a variable x value. Okay, so if I'm going to say echo dollar $a, oh, that shell is gone, x value. Okay, x is equal to 100. Then if I'm going to say here a and try to print the a value, I'm getting the 100. Okay, the same thing. I'll just try to use a single quotes. What happens to the a? Single quotes always treat everything in string, even though you have given variables, shell variables. It doesn't interpret at all. It will think it is entire thing is a string. Okay,
Okay.
so it doesn't talk to the shell, it doesn't meet the x value, and it doesn't get anything. Whereas double quotes, it is going to interpret means the dollar x, whenever it is encountered, it is
Variables.
going to do execution of that one. Yeah,
Okay.
so that is the difference between these two. Sometimes you need that one.
Hmm.
Okay, whenever you are going to name a shell script, then you must think of these important points. The shell does not care about extension. You don't need to give any extension. It is not compulsory. So most of the shell scripts, we are going to give the sh at the end, or bash or ksh. That is for us human readability. We are giving that extensions. Starting with the dot, that is going to indicate the hidden files, right? So we are going to have
Yes.
the
Yes.
profile dot profile bash underscore profile dot bash rc. All these are hidden files. So those scripts we are going to have the hidden. Name of the script, don't use you should not use any symbols. You should not have a dollar symbol. You should not have a the plus minus star divide.
Hmm.
Operators should not be there when you're naming your
Scripts.
name of the script. Okay, once you name your script, first line enter is shebang line. So shebang is actually a comment with exclamatory mark. Shebang, the pound symbol hash, we are going to call the sound shebang. So that's why it is shebang. It is actually gives the execution of what kind of interpreter it has to use in this file. Okay, so always better to mention this one. It is not mandatory, but when you're going to use this shebang line, that should be first line only. Remember this important point. If you are not using the first line, then it won't understand it is as a shebang line. Okay, so importantly, you can use existing shells. That is, right now I am having Bourne shell and bash shell. I cannot use KSH because it is not installed in my system. Okay, so that's some existing shells only you can mention in the shebang line, and these are the different examples. Perl or Python also you can use. Okay, so one sample structure, script structure, you can use a shebang line. Then onwards, the hash symbols indicates comments. So you can describe why you are writing this script, and then who created, that is your name, and the date when did you created the script, and version 1.0 or draft version 1.1, 1.2, like that. Whenever you change modification purpose, also you can mention there, and you can also define some functions in bash scripting. Okay, then scripting languages, lines, the commands which you are going to bunch, you can write together, that will become a script. Okay, so every program is automatically exits from your shell. But if you want to exit with code, you can also mention the number exit codes. There are 120 plus some 120's exit codes are available. Okay, so try to execute a script. How we are going to execute? You need execute permission. This, as you know already, but just for the names. So dot space script name will execute in the current shell. Dot slash script name will create a subshell. Okay, and then the script name path, absolute path, we have seen that the directory complete absolute path you can mention, or you can use the relative path. Okay, so that's how we so different platforms, Linux and other platforms, Unix platforms, you can check the values and you can execute the directory structures. You have seen that. One exercise for you:
Okay,
open
sir.
terminal and try to do pwd echo pwd, and what does it means, try to understand that and put into a script this pwd, both pwd and $pwd echo. Okay, and try to understand how it is behaved. Try to check the profile scripts of your project, of your existing company projects, understand them, and if you are not understanding anything, you can ask me question. And also get the information about du and df, because we are going to write some of the scripts which are related to disk space and directory structures. Okay, so try to understand them. I
Okay,
hope
sir.
you already subscribed to the channel, YouTube channel, and
Yes.
follow that. And I think you got the access right yesterday video. If you are not,
Ye-
let me know your mail ID.
Uh,
Just check if it is accessible, opening or not.
One video is I'm able to open, sir. That is first class and second class. I don't know.
Yeah, the third one I have shared. This
Okay,
one
third
is
one.
first one. Yeah.
First one. Okay. Second one, do you have, sir?
Second we'll do weekend or sometime.
Okay, no problem.
I'll
Okay, sir.
share that.
Right. Otherwise,
Okay, Darshan. Thank you.
can I come online at 6 o'clock? Is it possible for
We'll
you?
plan. We'll plan weekend, right?
Okay.
Or tomorrow we'll plan. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Sure, sir. Definitely. Yeah.